As you know, you may have read a couple of things about China.
China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They can't even figure out how to deal with the fact that they have this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the east, in the west.
The president has made it a practice to get up in front of the television cameras, tout new trade deals, reap splashy headlines, but those announcements have been consistently hollow and the results underwhelming.
China right now has an economy which is crumbling. Could even have been contracting last month.
Let's be honest, on one big fundamental point, Donald Trump is right. China is a trade cheat.
This is an economy that is in severe trouble. They need the U.S. market desperately right now.
Previous administrations decried Chinese trade practices, from currency manipulation to flooding the market with low-cost steel. Trump is the first U.S. leader to forcefully strike back, earning bipartisan applause from Congress.
Good day to you, everyone. I'm William Brewster. Welcome to the show. President Trump's opponents say his strategies are working brilliantly. President Trump not being covered very well by the dishonest American press, however, covered a little bit better by the international news. Some comments made by the president at his re-election kickoff speech in Orlando, Florida back in June could be said are brilliant and indicative of how he's planning or playing hardball with China. Is the president using the power of tariffs with China, bringing peace to the Korean Peninsula? Today I'll be sharing videos with you that will support this and show you what the president is doing, and I'll bring it all together at the end. Are the efforts of the president creating prosperity for Americans, also creating peace throughout the world?
The President of the United States.
China has been on President Trump's mind from his first address to Congress.
And we've lost 60,000 factories since China joined the World Trade Organization.
To his most recent political rallies.
I spoke to President Xi, terrific president, a great leader of China. Spoke to him this morning at length, and we'll see what happens.
Mainstream media touts that former Vice President Joe Biden is leading the president 15 out of 17 swing states, even though Biden barely gets any people at his rallies, compared to tens of thousands of people that attend the president's rallies. Many see how out of touch Biden really is, and lots of Democrats don't even grasp China's situation. Fareed Zurkar of CNN says China is very dishonest and agrees that the president's techniques of playing hardball are really working well.
Is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They can't even figure out how to deal with the fact that they have this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the east, in the west. They can't figure out how they're going to deal with the corruption that exists within the system. They're not bad folks, but guess what? They're not competition for us.
Months back, President pulls out of the Paris Accord. Why? China reported to cheat continuously. Many disagree, them being given years to live up to the emissions and clean air standards. However, these same standards would have been imposed on America immediately. Why is China's economy slowing down? It's reported that their previous Chinese administrations had been cheating for years.
Honest, on one big fundamental point, Donald Trump is right. China is a trade cheat, all of which directly contradicts Beijing's commitments when it joined the World Trade Organization in 2001. The U.S. trade representative's report to Congress on China's compliance with global trading rules is worth reading. In measured prose and great detail, it lays out the many ways that China has failed to enact promised economic reforms, backtracked on others, and used formal and informal means to block foreign firms from competing in China's market.
From the beginning, candidate Trump said, we have got to win China. We've got to be tough on them. because they're cheating. The president got pushback from both the Democrats and the Republicans.
We're told the president is perfectly happy, his words, to slap additional tariffs on China. Actually, Wilbur Ross, the Commerce Secretary, had said that. Are the Chinese ready for that possibility?
Yeah, I don't think so. China right now has an economy which is crumbling. Could even have been contracting last month.
Data showed China's credit growth in May was weaker than expected. China's factory activity also contracted in May, and imports fell the most they've had in nearly 3 years, signaling weaker demand.
We saw that with bellwether car sales down 16.4%, the 11th straight month of decline, the worst monthly decline ever, and imports were down 8.5% year on year, a real indication of declining domestic demand. This is an economy that is in severe trouble. They need the U.S. market desperately right now.
All right, Gordon, always good catching up with you, my friend. I appreciate it. Gordon Chang, best-selling author,
Thanks,
the
Neil.
best expert I know on China and that region.
China is a communist country. They control their industries. For example, China exports and sells Americans a Chinese product for $100. And we impose a 5% tariff on it. At this point, we pay $105 for what we used to pay $100. Consumers are looking for the best price. We wonder, should I buy this Chinese product for $105? Or should I buy the same product for $100 manufactured right here in the United States? Or should I buy that same product manufactured in Mexico for $97? Here are the facts. China controls industries. China subsidizes that product. Chinese companies use Chinese manipulated government money and devaluate their currency, making it cheaper to produce. A Chinese company is able to sell that product for $100 because the $5 tariff is covered by the government. The Chinese government is paying those tariffs, and their companies can still export to America and be very competitive with us along with other countries. These tariffs aren't really being felt by Americans.
Chinese seem to recognize that once they were in the system, the size of their market would ensure that every country would vie for access, and that this would give them the ability to cheat without much fear of reprisal. The scale and speed of China's integration into the world trading system was a seismic event. About a quarter of all manufacturing jobs lost in America between 1990 and 2007 could be explained by the deluge of Chinese imports.
Before the G20 summit in Japan, President Trump put a lot of pressure on China to help de-escalate tensions in the Korean Peninsula by getting President Xi of China to influence Chairman Kim from North Korea to decrease North Korea buildup and de-escalate tensions in the Korean Peninsula.
To meet face-to-face on the sidelines of the G20 in Japan, which starts on June 28th.
No, of course. You know, there are a lot of issues for that G20 bilateral. This is going to be the meeting of all meetings.
Mr. Xi is meeting with Mr. Kim in Pyongyang for 2 days, tomorrow and Friday, and he will be the first Chinese leader to visit in 14 years.
This also comes ahead of Mr. Xi's meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump at the G20 summit in Osaka next week, where trade talks will be at the top of the agenda.
But the two leaders have not met since Mr. Kim's failed summit with Donald Trump, and this was back in February. Beijing is a major donor of food and fuel aid to North Korea.
China is North Korea's biggest trading partner. More than 90% of North Korea's foreign trade has gone through China.
So in summary, is the techniques and processes that the president is using effective? The answer is yes, without a doubt. The president putting this type of pressure on China and North Korea is overall going to help not only stabilize and help Americans, but everywhere throughout the world. Thank you for your time today. If you'd like to support the show and myself, there is a PayPal link right here at the bottom. Feel free to click that. And again, I thank you for your time. And until next time, take care.